What's up, ladies and gents, Kknowley here. Welcome back to a brand new Payday video. This is the City of Gold Jiu Feng Smuggler Pack update 203, the first in the City of Gold campaign, which is going to be running just like the Silk Road campaign, following a storyline, and we're going to have some related DLCs released along the way. Like I said, this is the first part, but instead of us getting a heist, a weapon pack, a color pack, and a tailor pack, we just have two of those, the weapon pack and the color pack, rolled into one for $4. So great value for money, but a very different setup that some people may or may not like. It means the content's going to be released more frequently across the year, but because of that, we're not going to get those massive content dumps of high quality. Really depends what you enjoy the most, whether you'd rather wait a little bit longer to get a little more at once, or whether you'd just rather have more to do in Payday more frequently. I do believe it's also possible that this was just a case of we've not finished the heist yet, but we'd like to release some content because we've teased it and everyone's really excited for some more Payday stuff. If that's the case, that's absolutely fine by me from Overkill, and I'm very happy to sink my teeth into some brand new weapons to mess around with. In any case, let's get on to talking about the weapons and mods, and I'll also discuss some of the new lore stuff, some information we have when this actual San Francisco heist comes out. So the port of San Francisco brings in a wide variety of merchandise from Asia and elsewhere, and some of it is of the more shady kind. Through Joy, a San Francisco native, the Payday gang has a new smuggler contact, a former Triad member named Jiu Feng, presenting them with the option to purchase a range of new weapons, mods, and weapon colors. The Jiu Feng Smuggler Pack consists of a shotgun, a pistol, and a submachine gun, as well as 9 weapon mods and 20 weapon colors. It's brilliant to see the weapon colors are being consolidated within the weapon packs. I think this means, like I said, a lot more value for your money. The colors in this pack are brilliant, and those alone can sell DLCs. Smart move by Overkill, but at least from my point of view, the weapons have to be good for it to be worth it, so we need to dive into those a little more. But first, I just want to talk about Jiu Feng, a brand new character. I do not believe he's going to be contracting a lot of the DLCs that we see released, but it is a brand new weapon supplier, which is cool. He's the guy we saw on that first trailer. The weapons he's brought are somewhat thematic, but what's I think more interesting about him, as well as Joy's involvement with him, is the fact he's a former Triad member. So this pretty much gives it away. The City of Gold, it's going to be based around some sort of Triad destruction, a little bit like we were trying to destroy the cartel, the Coyopas. We're going to be facing off against Triads. Jiu Feng is an ex-Triad member, which I think is rather pivotal, because if he was a Triad member, he would be public enemy #1, because there was a lot of discussion before this update came out where we're going to be dealing with the Yakuza. The Yakuza obviously had ties with the Kataru. That's what happened with Kenta when he got sent off to become the originally a pawn of the dentist and then eventually his watcher. But the Triad looks like it's also involved, very much the same as the cartel was in Mexico. The Chinese Triads are going to be a part of the Kataru, and it is going to be another branch that we have to take apart in order to reduce the allies the dentist has when it comes to the White House. So yet again, more pre-White House content. And I do believe, since we haven't had any more mention of the Mistress, if you guys watch my Silk Road video, you should know there's a mystery character known as the Mistress. I don't imagine, since she definitely didn't seem to have Asian descent, seemed to be more European, possibly Italian. I don't imagine this is going to be the campaign in which we deal with her, and it seems like she might be an overarching enemy, even above the dentist, in this narrative. So my theory is that this is not going to be the last campaign before Payday 3. I've seen some people positing that, but I don't believe that is going to be the case, for better or for worse. I personally am really enjoying these Payday 2 DLCs though. Anyway, I want to talk about the weapons. So we have the Crosskill Chunky Compact, a secondary pistol, the AK Gen 21 Tactical, a secondary submachine gun, and a Mosconi 12 gauge Tactical, a primary pump action shotgun. Starting things off with the Crosskill, I'm just going to give some first impressions while showing some gameplay. This thing is really good. It's one of the better pistols in the game. It certainly fits my playstyle. It's quite comparable in many ways to something like the Baby Deagle, an excellent pistol, or even the 5.7 AP pistol. They really do excel at that sort of medium to high damage range, decent fire rate, in fact very decent fire rate in this case, and pretty good consistency as far as weapons go. I would say in many ways this actually outperforms because it has virtually double the fire rate of something like the Baby Deagle, but that's a blessing and a curse because it's a relatively low ammo capacity weapon. You are going to have problems if you're missing a lot of shots or firing shots into body armor, so it really benefits you to be incredibly accurate. If you're very accurate and efficient with this weapon, you'll get a ton out of it. It'll kill specials faster than powerful weapons like the Baby Deagle, much higher DPS even than something like the Deagle, even though it's damage per shot is lower. I've been really impressed by this thing, but it's so dependent on how well you play with it. If you're hitting your headshots, you can still hit those one-shot kill ranges, and you can shoot more frequently. So it sounds brilliant, but I still imagine something like the 5.7 AP will be better because it has more utility. But like I say, if you mod this thing out for a lot of accuracy, I've had a ton of success with it so far. If it's not accurate, you're not going to be landing those shots. You're going to be running out of ammo very quickly. It's not going to be ammo efficient, and you will have problems. So, a bit of a risk-reward sort of weapon, but it is something a little unique in the category, if nothing mind-blowing. Well worth giving a try to. Both these secondaries, by the way, come with akimbo versions in the primary slot. I wasn't overly impressed by either. The Crosskill has the problem of being somewhere in the middle in terms of being relatively high damage, relatively high fire rate, okay for ammo. It's fine in those capacities, but nothing groundbreaking, so it ends up sitting somewhere in the middle of the pack. I tend to prefer the bullet hose akimbo pistols, just my personal preference, so I'm not a huge fan of that. When it comes to the Akimbo AK Gen 21, I thought it was relatively powerful. Sits somewhere in the middle again for power, for consistency, for accuracy. All Akimbo SMGs with their fire rate are pretty hard to control. This one is no different. I do think something like the Krinkov, which outdoes it for DPS, even though it's a lot less ammo efficient, will outperform because DPS is often way more important. You can always bring ammo bags along, but if you want something that's going to last you a bit longer, they work and they're fun. I like Akimbo SMGs, and I'm glad that we don't just get the secondary versions. It is a big improvement on past DLCs. Anyway, the singular AK Gen 21 I think is a lot better than its Akimbo variant. I think it's a very consistent weapon. It's easy to mod it out for perfect accuracy, perfect stability. I love those laser weapons. They feel great to use. It's the perfect sort of primary secondary, if you know what I mean. It's if you're running a primary that's a little less consistent, or it's designed specifically for special killing, you can easily put this on in your secondary spot, and it's basically an assault rifle in form and function. High DPS, decent enough ammo capacity, fits the role really nicely. Whereas if you want something that is more of a secondary, say with a sniper rifle, I always use the CR SMG. That thing has way higher DPS and it will kill bulldozers faster, so it fits that role better, whereas the AK Gen 21 is a much more jack of all trades, consistent but still fun to use weapon. Relatively impressed, fits its own little damage niche, good weapon, but nothing that's going to blow your mind. The Mosconi 12 gauge tactical, on the other hand, is naughty. It's disgusting. They shouldn't be doing this. Overkill have done this in the past. Unless I'm missing something exceedingly obvious in terms of, I don't know, damage breakpoints, this thing looks like it does almost exactly what the Reinfeld 88 did, or the Reinfeld in the last DLC, the Gunslinger Weapon Pack. It does all of that, but it's just better. It's just got slightly higher stats in quite important locations, thus is better, making the Gunslinger Weapon Pack a far worse purchase, which is never cool. Overkill should really avoid doing that. Things should be side grades. I'm not a huge fan of side grades either, so really I think they should focus on adding very unique weapons with new mechanics. Things like the Little Friend, for example. Amazing, cool weapon that works totally differently. That's how I'd like to see weapon packs work in the future. But the Mosconi really steps within the lines of the old DLCs where we just saw that power creep. It just is an incredibly strong primary pump action. It can one-shot headshot with overkill activated. Just one-shotting heavy SWAT's really important for death sentence viability without any particularly high investment skills. It works perfectly fine in crit builds. It's got great fire rate, great ammo capacity, reloads faster than the Reinfeld. It's just very strong. Reinfeld was previously the strongest in category. It's now just, as far as I can tell, been outdone by the Mosconi. Might be reason enough if you're a big fan of playing the meta, or you like the best weapon in category, picking up this DLC because of the Mosconi, but for me it really gives the DLC slight negative points because it's a bit of a regression in design philosophy. I loved the Gunslinger Pack because it was quite unique. The weapons all had a very different feel to them. I love the Bonetti rangefinder, you guys know that if you've followed the channel for a while, whereas nothing here stands out as, wow, I adore this weapon. They're all fun and very viable. In fact, you can see I'm running them on death sentence in some of this gameplay without too many issues, just my customary few downs. But yeah, it doesn't have the same style to it as previous weapon packs. However, that is where the colors come in. So these weapons are all incredibly solid and, you know, nearing towards the top of their categories in terms of viability, especially in the Mosconi. But what really sets this DLC apart is the fact the colors are in there, and also we're no longer just receiving big block colors. We are now receiving interesting, intricate patterns that go into the weapons and look fantastic. They could on their own be community safe custom designs, and you have a lot of variety in terms of how you want to set them up. You know, you could buy a safe skin for a couple of dollars, or you could buy this DLC and have 20 safe skins, all of that quality that you can customize in whatever way you want. You know, you've got them in mint condition if you want them. Big fan of this if you like cosmetics, and especially if you like the style. I think the style is really nice. General thematics, some Asian, Chinese type theming, but there are some really unique ones. So really impressed by this element of the Smuggler Pack. I'm very glad to see they're both being combined. It makes so much sense to put the colors with the weapon packs. You will get more sales this way. Good job, Overkill. Massive boon in terms of those of you thinking about picking up this DLC. This adds a lot of quality, a lot of value for money. Now then, in terms of Infamy 3.1, if we go back to the webpage, we have 8 new weapon colors, 2 new gloves, 1 new suit, 2 masks, and 8 new stingers. More Infamy rewards, that's good. Some people will pass those Infamy levels and need to unlock it. I personally haven't been going Infamous. I've been holding this particular level so I can mess around with some builds and some other stuff I'm working on with crime sprees. However, this is still great news, and I'm really pleased to see 2 new masks. Finally, more Infamy masks in there. It was noticeably absent when Infamy 3.0 came out, and so I'm glad to see some later unlock masks. I actually think that was something we requested, and Overkill have clearly listened. That's brilliant. What more could we ask for? Infamy 3.1 is a cool additional free element in this update. However, whilst I'm showing you some of the new Infamy rewards, I want to discuss with you the thing I am most excited for out of this update, which is well hidden on the update page under upcoming gameplay changes. Tobias says we're going to look deeper into the gameplay experience this year. First thing is tweaking gunplay a bit. We're going to release an open beta soon, date to be announced in an upcoming announcement and on our Twitter. We will invite all our heisters to take part and leave feedback. This is tremendous news. Tweaking gunplay, whilst it doesn't sound like a massive meta-defining move, is the first step in making Payday feel like a brand new game in 2021, and I'm so glad Overkill are undertaking it. If you've been playing Payday for as long as I have, you will know that Payday's undergone many metas, and I don't think any have been as horrifically imbalanced as the one we are currently in. Some weapons are just so overpowered, it means that the vast majority, I'd say 90 to 95% of weapons are virtually irrelevant if you want to play at the top level and play the game consistently and do the best you possibly can, and that's a goddamn shame. Lots of classes in particular suffer. Some classes are far too strong. LMGs, for example, across the board, pretty overpowered. Certain shotguns, disgusting. And I can't wait for that to be changed, or at least for more to be done to make it so those lesser weapons have relevance within the meta again. And by the way they're saying tweaking gunplay, it sounds like more than just a statistical move. There could be a lot more to it than that. It sounds like a total gunplay overhaul could be in the works. Possibly they could be setting things up for pre-Payday 3 ideas. We will have to see, but this beta is the first step of many to rebalance Payday 2, and it's going to do wonders for the game as far as I can tell. It's also a brilliant sign for how Overkill are planning to treat the game moving forwards. There's a lot of understanding, or there was a lot of belief for a long time that we wouldn't get an overhaul because, you know, Overkill are just using Payday 2 to make money now. Everyone's aware of that. There's no secret. Payday 2 is the way they are funding Payday 3, so there was some understanding that an update like that cannot be profitable, so why would they? But here we go, there's more confirmation we are going to get a rebalance because Overkill do care about the integrity of the game and are willing to do things to keep people interested. Of course, the more interested people are in the game, the more new things they can bring in, the more they can sell to us. So there is value there. There's reason for Overkill to do that, irrespective of just, you know, positive PR. But I would say what is the greatest sign here is the fact that they've really listened. The AMA made a big difference. They have been saying that they'd like to look at some overhauls, and here it finally is. And it sprung to mind that actually maybe the reason this update is sort of separated and they haven't bothered throwing in the heist content yet is because they'd like that to go into the game when it's in a little more of a balanced state. So possibly we'll have this beta come up first, work through the beta over the next month, end up with hopefully, you know, assuming the feedback is good and assuming the change ideas are good, a much more balanced and fun to play game, a rejuvenated game, and then we come back for more of this City of Gold content. I cannot wait. This is amazing news. If you haven't checked out the Twitter, I do recommend doing that. The Payday Twitter man is always very active. We'll be tweeting out when these changes go live and when you can access the beta, and I hope you guys will join me in playing the hell out of that beta, because it's really up to us to help balance the game at this point. Hugely community driven game, and now's our opportunity to make it our own. So excited for this moving into the future. Payday 2 has a very bright future ahead of it. Of course, Payday 3 is on the horizon. We're excited about that, but this is what we have now, and this is what we should cherish and look after. So I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you've learned a thing or two about this DLC. Let me know whether you're considering picking it up or not. I will be doing some more in-depth reviews of the weapons added in the Smuggler Pack. As ever, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Take care. I'll see you all very soon. As ever, thank you very much to my Mean Infamy patrons and above. If you want to join that infamous club to see yourself in the credits or get early exclusive access to my videos, including the story videos, check out my Patreon link below. Remember, the Discord is open to all if you crave some more Payday discussion. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you all very soon for the next one.